The wrestling world just got turned completely upside down, and what we thought we knew about one of the most brutal attacks in recent memory has been shattered into a million pieces. Nick Aldis just dropped a bombshell that nobody saw coming, and the implications are massive for everyone involved. Solo Sikao, the enforcer of the bloodline, has been revealed as the mastermind behind the vicious assault on Jacob Fatu, and this revelation is sending shockwaves through the entire wrestling community. Before we dive into this explosive story, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out on the latest wrestling news and updates. The attack on Jacob Fatu was one of those moments that left everyone stunned and searching for answers. It happened backstage in an area where cameras rarely capture the action, and the brutality of it was something that had people talking for weeks. Fatu was found laid out with injuries that looked like they came from someone who knew exactly what they were doing. Medical staff rushed to the scene, and the severity of the situation became clear immediately. This wasn't just some random backstage scuffle or a heat-of-the-moment altercation. This was calculated and brutal and designed to send a message that would echo throughout the locker room. When news first broke about the attack, speculation ran wild about who could have been responsible. Fingers were pointed in every direction as fans and wrestlers alike tried to piece together what had happened. Some thought it might have been a rival faction looking to make a statement. Others suspected it could have been someone with a personal grudge against Fatu. The list of potential suspects seemed endless because Jacob Fatu is the kind of competitor who has crossed paths with nearly everyone in the business. His intensity and his willingness to do whatever it takes to win have made him both respected and feared in equal measure. The investigation into the attack became a priority for SmackDown general manager Nick Aldis. He made it clear from the beginning that he wouldn't tolerate this kind of violence happening under his watch. Aldis conducted interviews with potential witnesses and reviewed every piece of footage he could get his hands on. The pressure was mounting because the longer the attacker remained unknown, the more tension built up in the locker room. Wrestlers started looking at each other with suspicion, and the atmosphere backstage became thick with distrust. Everyone wanted answers, and they wanted them fast. Solo Sikao seemed like the last person anyone would suspect. As a member of the bloodline, he had been focused on his own rise to power and his own agenda within the faction. He had been positioning himself as a leader and someone who could carry the legacy of the bloodline into the future. His focus appeared to be on establishing dominance and proving that he was worthy of the respect that comes with being part of such a powerful group. The idea that he would take time away from that mission to orchestrate an attack on Jacob Fatu seemed completely out of character and didn't fit the narrative that had been building around him. But Nick Aldis uncovered evidence that nobody could deny. Security footage from a different angle showed Solo Sikao in the vicinity at the exact time of the attack. Witnesses who had been too scared to come forward initially began to speak up once they realized that the truth was going to come out regardless. They described seeing Solo Sikao near the area where Fatu was attacked, and their testimonies matched up with the timeline that Aldis had constructed. The pieces of the puzzle started falling into place, and what emerged was a picture that shocked everyone who saw it. The motive behind the attack is what really makes this story even more complicated. Solo Sikao and Jacob Fatu share a connection through their Samoan heritage and their ties to wrestling royalty. Both men come from families that have shaped the business, and both carry the weight of those legacies on their shoulders. But that shared background also means that the competition between them runs deeper than just wins and losses. This is about respect and honor and proving who deserves to be recognized as the true heir to that legacy. Solo Sikao saw Jacob Fatu as a threat to his position within the bloodline and as someone who could potentially challenge his authority. Jacob Fatu had been making noise about wanting to join the bloodline, or at least align himself with them in some capacity. His talent is undeniable, and his presence would have added another dangerous element to an already dominant faction. But Solo Sikao didn't see it that way. He saw Fatu as someone who would disrupt the balance of power that he had been carefully constructing. He saw him as someone who might overshadow him or question his leadership decisions. So instead of welcoming a potential ally, Solo Sikao chose to eliminate what he perceived as a threat before it could become a bigger problem. The attack itself was brutal and methodical. Fatu was ambushed from behind and never had a chance to defend himself properly. The assault was quick but devastating, and it left him with injuries that would keep him out of action for weeks. Solo Sikao made sure that the message was clear. Anyone who thought about challenging his position or questioning his decisions would face similar consequences. This wasn't just about taking out Jacob Fatu. This was about establishing fear and control and making sure everyone knew that Solo Sikao was not someone to be trifled with. When Nick Aldis finally made the announcement, the reaction was immediate and intense. Wrestlers in the locker room couldn't believe what they were hearing. Fans on social media erupted with a mixture of shock and anger. Some defended Solo Sikao, claiming that the evidence must have been planted or that there was more to the story than what was being presented. Others called for immediate action and demanded that Solo Sikao face serious consequences for what he had done. The wrestling community was divided, and the debate raged on across every platform imaginable. The bloodline as a whole now finds itself in a difficult position. Roman Reigns had been trying to maintain control over the faction and keep everyone focused on their collective goals. But with this revelation, the cracks in the foundation are starting to show. How can Reigns continue to trust Solo Sikoa after learning that he acted on his own and orchestrated such a brutal attack without consulting anyone? How can the rest of the faction feel safe knowing that one of their own is willing to take such extreme measures to protect his position? The unity that the bloodline prided itself on is now under serious threat. Jacob Fatu himself has remained relatively quiet since the revelation came to light. He released a brief statement saying that he appreciated Nick Aldis for his dedication to uncovering the truth and that he would be taking time to recover both physically and mentally from the attack. But those close to Fatu say that he is furious and that he won't rest until he gets his revenge. The idea of being blindsided by someone he considered a potential ally or at the very least a fellow warrior has left him feeling betrayed. When he does return to action, it's clear that his sights will be set squarely on Solo Sikoa. The ramifications of this situation extend far beyond just these two men. Other wrestlers are now looking at the bloodline differently and wondering if aligning with them is worth the risk. The aura of invincibility that surrounded the faction has been tarnished and opponents are starting to sense weakness. Tag teams and singles competitors who had been hesitant to challenge the bloodline are now circling like sharks smelling blood in the water. The balance of power on SmackDown is shifting and nobody knows exactly where things will land. Nick Aldis has stated that there will be consequences for Solo Sikoa's actions. While he hasn't specified exactly what those consequences will be, the expectation is that they will be severe. Some are calling for a suspension that would keep Solo Sikoa off television for an extended period. Others believe that he should be forced to face Jacob Fatu in a match where Fatu has the opportunity to get his revenge. Whatever Aldis decides, it needs to send a message that this kind of behavior won't be tolerated and that there are rules that everyone must follow regardless of their status or connections. The fans have been vocal about what they want to see happen next. Many are calling for a high-stakes match between Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu with stipulations that would make it truly unforgettable. A street fight or a no disqualification match seems like the perfect setting for these two to settle their issues. Others want to see Roman Reigns get involved and address what Solo Sikoa did. Reigns has always positioned himself as the head of the table and the ultimate authority within the bloodline. His response to this situation will define how the faction moves forward and whether they can rebuild the trust that has been shattered. The timing of this revelation couldn't be worse for Solo Sikoa. He had been building momentum and gaining respect from both fans and peers. His performances in the ring had been impressive and he was starting to establish himself as a legitimate main event talent. But now all of that progress is overshadowed by his actions. Instead of being celebrated for his skills and his rise through the ranks, he's being condemned for his brutality and his willingness to cross lines that shouldn't be crossed. The road to redemption, if there even is one, will be long and difficult. Jacob Fatu's return is going to be one of the most anticipated moments in recent memory. The fans are eager to see how he responds to what happened and whether he can get the revenge he seeks. Fatu has always been known for his intensity and his ability to bring a level of aggression that few can match. When he steps back into the ring with Solo Sikoa in his sights, it's going to be explosive. The build-up to that eventual confrontation is already generating massive interest and the match itself has the potential to be one of the best of the year. The locker room atmosphere has changed dramatically since this news broke. Wrestlers who were once friendly with Solo Sikoa are now keeping their distance. Nobody wants to be associated with someone who would orchestrate such a cowardly attack. The respect that Solo Sikoa had worked so hard to earn has evaporated almost overnight. He's gone from being seen as a rising star and a key member of the bloodline to being viewed as someone who can't be trusted. That's a reputation that's incredibly hard to shake and it may follow him for the rest of his career. Nick Aldis deserves credit for his handling of this investigation. He didn't rush to judgment and he made sure that he had all the facts before making any announcements. His methodical approach ensured that when he did reveal the truth, nobody could question the validity of the evidence. This situation has also elevated Aldis's standing as a general manager. He's shown that he's willing to hold everyone accountable regardless of their position or their connections. That kind of leadership is exactly what SmackDown needs during such a turbulent time. The wrestling business thrives on storytelling and this situation has all the elements of a classic tale. You have betrayal and revenge and the struggle for power all wrapped up in one explosive package. The fans are invested because they feel like they're watching something real unfold. The emotions are genuine and the stakes couldn't be higher. This is the kind of storyline that reminds everyone why they fell in love with wrestling in the first place. It's unpredictable and it's compelling and it keeps you on the edge of your seat waiting to see what happens next. Solo Sikoa now faces a choice about how he responds to these accusations. He could deny everything and claim that the evidence is circumstantial. He could embrace his role as the villain and lean into the hatred that's being directed at him. Or he could try to explain his actions and make people understand why he felt like he had no other choice. Each path comes with its own set of consequences and the decision he makes will shape the trajectory of his career moving forward. There's no easy way out of this situation and no matter what he does there will be people who never forgive him. The bloodline's future hangs in the balance as this drama continues to unfold. Roman Reigns will need to make some difficult decisions about whether Solo Sikoa remains part of the faction. The other members will need to decide where their loyalties lie. The unity and the strength that made the bloodline such a dominant force could crumble if these issues aren't addressed properly. But if they can find a way to navigate through this storm, they could emerge even stronger and more dangerous than before. The question is whether that's even possible given everything that has happened. Jacob Fatu's career trajectory has also been altered by this incident. Before the attack, he was on the rise and making a name for himself as one of the most exciting talents in the business. Now he's seen as a victim and someone who was taken out before he could reach his full potential. But Fatu has never been the type to accept that kind of narrative. He'll use this setback as motivation, and when he returns he'll be more focused and more dangerous than ever. The wrestling world hasn't seen the best of Jacob Fatu yet, and this situation will only fuel his fire. The media coverage of this story has been extensive, with outlets from around the world picking up on the drama. Wrestling podcasts and YouTube channels have dedicated hours to discussing every angle and every possibility. Social media has been ablaze with debates and theories and hot takes. This is the kind of story that transcends wrestling and captures the attention of even casual fans. It's a reminder that when wrestling is done right, it can create moments and storylines that resonate far beyond the ring. As we wait to see what happens next, one thing is certain: this story is far from over. The revelation that Solo Sikao was behind the attack on Jacob Fatu is just the beginning of what promises to be an epic saga. The confrontations that are coming will be must-see television, and the fallout will be felt for months or even years to come. This is wrestling at its finest, and we're all lucky to be watching it unfold in real time. If you've made it this far, thank you for sticking with us through this incredible story. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss any updates as this situation continues to develop. Drop a comment below and let us know what you think should happen next. Should Solo Sikao be suspended, or should he face Jacob Fatu in a match? What should Roman Reigns do about this situation? We want to hear your thoughts. Hit that like button and share this video with your fellow wrestling fans, because this is a story that everyone needs to know about. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.